Welcome to another episode of the Woman Up podcast, a place where women in business come for sisterhood and real talk. Today, I have a special guest. I'm really excited. But before I get into that, this podcast is dedicated to our community and online space where together we're navigating life, business, and all the messiness in between. This is not just another Women in Business podcast where all we talk about is strategy and scaling. There is space for that in the community, but this is the place where we connect with each other beyond the hustle, because before we were entrepreneurs, we were women first. So this is the space where we share our stories, our personal journeys, and how real life has actually shaped us. If you want to know more about the community, just stay tuned. I will tell you all about that later. But for now, this is your reminder that if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss a future episode. And if you're watching or listening on a podcast platform like Spotify or Apple, then hit the follow button for the same reason. On that note, I want to introduce you guys to my guest for this week, a dear friend of mine, Miss Cindy Smiley.
Sorry. You're so natural.
Thank
you're
you.
so good.
Well, it is season 2 now, so I feel like it's time that
Yeah.
I relaxed into it. But it wasn't
That's
always
so-
the case.
So that's so good. I'm so happy. for you.
Oh, thank you. I guess before we get started, just tell everyone who you are and what you're doing at the moment.
All right. So I'm Cindy Smiley, and so I'm a former secondary school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And at the moment, so I left teaching when I had my second child, and at the moment I am building an online platform.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to help mothers like me that are not too sure what to do with their life,
Mm-hmm.
lost their identity, trying to rediscover themselves. So that's what I'm trying to build right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I've started my Instagram. So it's at Sin's Journey. Still learning, very beginning at the moment.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I work. So I'm a director at Trimenco, which is training, mentoring, and coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So we do training program for women. It's all about self-development,
Oh, I love that.
yeah, so it's amazing. I've been doing it for 5 years, and I'm fortunate to be with people around me with a strong mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and I've learned a lot from them. So that's what I'm doing. But I'm still trying to kind of figure out what's my purpose and all this stuff.
Just for the audience as well, me and you go way back.
Oh
so
yes, we do.
we went to college together.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I feel like we were in such different spaces, like mindset spaces and everything. So we were in completely different spaces, like a space that we are now, I think, obviously.
Oh, definitely.
Because we were in our 20s back then.
Yeah. Wow. I think
Yeah.
when we went to college, we were 21.
Yeah, I think so. I remember that at that point in time, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I was nannying.
Yes, you.
Yeah.
I remember you were.
And I was like, oh, maybe I can further this and work with kids and go into teaching and stuff. So we did a childcare diploma together. But then that was the moment when I realized I didn't want to work with children.
Yeah, I remember. I was more enthusiastic.
Yeah, and you
about
were
it.
like, oh yeah, I
I
can't
loved
wait
it.
to
Yeah,
work
I
with
loved it.
children. What was that journey like with you when you went into teaching after that?
So I did obviously we did childcare. So I worked in nursery for a while,
Mm.
and I think I remember I loved it. I really loved it. But I think I remember there was a point where I was changing some nappies, and I was like, no, I can't do that.
Mm.
I don't want to say I'm better than that because this, but I'm I've got more to offer.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So, and then that's when I decided to go to university
Mm.
and go into teaching. And honestly, that was the best thing that I've done. Teaching was just amazing.
Mm.
Every day was a different day, but the impact and, the relationship that I've built with those students,
Mm.
my 40th birthday, there were 4 of my students there,
I couldn't
and
believe that. Yeah.
I know. And it's amazing because, yeah, you just build this relationship and what I found is that when I was in secondary school, especially, there was 1 or 2 specific teachers that I would never forget. And, when I went into teaching, I just hoped that I would do the same thing for some of the students, not everyone, but I would impact some of the students, in a better way. The education system is a bit messed up, but when you have good teachers that really care,
Yeah.
it just make a huge impact.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm proud to say that I was one of them.
That's good. I
Yeah.
like that. But you are where are you originally from?
All right, so I'm originally from Mauritius. So my parents are both from Mauritius. They migrated to France in the late 70s, I think. And then I was born in France and raised in France. and we lived there until I was 20,
Mm-hmm.
and then we all moved here to London.
Mm.
So yes, so it's really weird because when I say to people I'm Mauritian, like if I talk to Mauritian people and I say I'm Mauritian, they look at me like, no, you're not Mauritian.
Yeah.
When I say I'm French, people look at me like, no, you're not
You're
French.
not French, yeah.
And now I've been here for 20 years. This year is going to be 20 years that I've been here. Well, I never say I'm British anyway. but, but yeah, so I just like, yeah, I'm just me.
I feel like that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Because in Spain, people, they're just like, you're not Spanish.
And
Like,
then you're
you're
Colombian,
English.
right?
And it's like, what? No,
Yeah.
the most I am ever is British.
British, yeah.
But then British people, when they're like, oh, where are you from? And it's like, oh, I was born here. No, but where are you from?
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but here I find that not everyone know what Mauritius is.
Mm.
So yeah.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, not like some people like Mauritius, they've never heard of it.
Yeah. I remember once, a long time ago, I think when I was with my first boyfriend, I was like, oh, if I ever have my honeymoon, it's going to be in Mauritius.
Are you still gonna do that?
I don't know. I feel like now I've like expanded like my knowledge on places. Maybe not, but I do still really want to go there.
You should. It's
Yeah,
so
it's,
beautiful.
I can
You're gonna
imagine
love
it's
it,
so
yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. Okay. So I'm saying like we go way back from like our 20s, but you recently turned 40 and then I'm coming up to 40.
Yeah, in June next month.
I know. And I kind of like, we've had like small discussions here and there about like stuff that's coming up for us as like we shift into this new like decade. And I wanted to talk to you about that. Like, what has come up for you with this new milestone and like what, like, talk us through that.
Wow, that's a lot, a lot. So I lost my grandmother last year in July, and I was very close to my grandmother. And so as she passed away, I did a eulogy at her funeral, and then learning more about her story. So that was like first step of reflection for me, like what has she done with her life and how she lived her life and stuff. So, and then obviously knowing that I'm going to be 40 like the following years, started to reflect on my life and where I was at, if I was fulfilled with what I was doing, how far I've come, but at the same time, like, what have I done? Because you realize, like, since I've moved here for, like, in 2005, it's gone so quick. But at the same time, you know, I've done so much. So, but I was just reflecting and reflecting and reflecting, and I just wasn't happy about everything, you know. Yes, I got two beautiful children. I had a career, and then also I think that plays a big part because I had a career, and I'm very career driven. And then I didn't lose the career. I chose not to carry on because I had children. Yeah, I feel like it was just a lot of reflection, and a few events happened in my life where I had to go back to my childhood and my teenage years and realize how much of that impacted the 20 years that I've spent here. So, yes, I think like turning 40 was loads of reflection, loads of how do I want to live, let's say more or less, if I've got 40 years left, you know, God forbid if anything happened to me, but if like say I got another 40 years left, how do I want to live my life?
Yeah.
And I feel like because I've asked myself this question, I've discovered a lot of things that I want to do and things that I want to stop doing. You know?
Okay. So when you say things, let's start with things that you want to do.
Yes.
What
so,
things?
like one of my core value is to make an impact, and that's why I went into teaching, and I feel like I'm not making an impact enough. I feel like something in me is I'm not fulfilled 100%. You know what I mean? I feel like at some point, I went into like a negative spiral after I had my daughter, because that's when I decided not to go back into teaching. But I just felt super lost, super lost, very unhappy. But at the same time, I couldn't talk about it because society makes it like, come on, girl, yeah, you've got two kids, you're married, like, what are you complaining about? But inside, I was crying because, yes, I had my two beautiful kids, but I wanted more. And at the time, I didn't realize that it was okay for wanting more. It's only this year, really, that I realized, no, it's okay for me to want more.
What does wanting more look like for you?
I think it's all about my career for me,
Right.
right? Having more, but also having more experiences, having more freedom.
Freedom.
Like I feel like this is what more looks like at the moment. Do you know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
feel like as human, we're forever changing. So I could be telling you this right now, and then like next year, I'll be telling you something else.
Mm.
But I think for me right now is wanting more is to actually feel fulfilled and content. At the moment, like I'm not feeling content every day. Do you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like I'm happy, but I want to feel content and I want to live my purpose. And I'm still like when I was teaching, I felt like that was my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But since I left teaching, I'm still like trying to figure out like what is it that I want to do? What is it that I want to do?
Mm.
Whereas before I knew what I was doing. And I feel like that's the part where I'm not feeling fulfilled. And I feel like maybe once I find that path, then I'll feel fulfilled. I'm not sure. I might just say that and it might not be the case. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like as human, we always want more and
We
more and
always
more.
want, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah. But you left teaching because of what reason?
I left teaching because teaching is very demanding.
Mm-hmm.
When I used to teach, I used to be there like till really late. And again, I mean, I had a conversation with you about that, but I'm always trying to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't feel like I could be the best mom and the best teacher. I
Mm.
used to spend a lot of time into my teaching resources that I would create, anything that I was doing in teaching. I used to spend a lot of time. And when I was teaching, when I had my son, just my son, I remember like coming back home and the poor little boy wanted a story.
Mm.
And I was just too tired to read him a story because
Mm.
I've dealt with like 5 classes of 30 children and I was just too tired. And when I had my second one, I was like, I'm not going to be able to manage. And then, still be like doing everything that I need to do, clean, cook. And
Mm.
I was just like, I can't do this. And another reason why I didn't go back into teaching is because when I grew up, my mom was not as present that I wanted her to be. So there was a lot of like event in school. She would never come because
Mm.
she's always working.
Mm.
I remember, I think I have got this memory where I had a competition that was outside school. I had a competition because I used to do karate and then I used to do gymnastic, and I won. I was the first one, like out of all these children, I won, and I didn't have no one to run to say, like, oh,
Oh, bless you.
I had to run to my friend's mom, which the one
Oh.
that took me. Like they congratulated me, but it didn't feel like the same as if it was my
Mm.
mom. So that always stuck to me, and I always say to myself, when I have children, I want to be able to go to sports day, to they play in school and stuff like that. So that's like the reason why I left teaching.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever speak to your grandma about how you were feeling?
My grandma,
Yeah, you said your grandma passed away.
yeah,
Did you speak to her about like how you were feeling approaching 40, or was it after that she
no,
passed away that you had all these feelings?
it's after, it's
Mm.
after because you know what? To be fair with you, we didn't even like it was a very quick death, so
Mm.
we didn't even know she was dying. We were planning a 90th birthday.
Mm.
So literally, her 90th birthday was in August, and she died end of June, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and the funeral was in July. And yeah, like it was so quick. There were so many questions. Me and my sister would always say, "Yeah, oh, one day we're gonna sit with grandma, and we're gonna ask her all these questions." We never got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So if your grandma is still here, do it because
Mm.
we wanted to do it. We wanted to record her voice. Her, because she used to share stories with us, but we never really recorded anything. And then every time I used to go and see her, I'll bring my children along. So we never really had like deep conversation like that, which is something I regret.
Mm.
Mm,
What do you think she would say to you if you told her how you were feeling?
Not sure, because you see, like her life was completely different to mine.
Yeah.
Like she was just a hustler. She worked until the age of 85. COVID stopped
Wow.
her.
No
Like she
way.
couldn't work anymore because of COVID. Do
Mm.
you know what I mean? So her life is just completely different. But one thing I do feel like we have in common is helping others.
Mm.
She welcomed in that she had like a little studio, but you know how many people she welcomed in her home
Mm.
to help out. Yeah, so that kind of like helping, being of service for others, we get it. I think I get it from her.
Okay. Okay, and then you mentioned earlier things that you want to stop doing. What kind of things?
All right, so I feel that for 20 years now, since I've been here, I've created an identity.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all reflection from this year, right? I've created an identity of who I wanted to be But I realized that I was wearing a mask
Mm-hmm.
for all this time because I was just trying to be perfect at everything, the
Like what?
best. So even like when we studied childcare, I told you I'm gonna get a triple A because I just want to do the best
You
all the
just,
time,
yeah.
you know. And then so I said it, I did it, right? I got a triple A, and then university, I'm gonna get a first class degree. Again, I did it. Everything, like I said, like it's like I was trying to be the best at everything, so no one could say anything about me.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like relationship, trying to be the best girlfriend, wife, everything that I've done so far, I felt like I've put so much pressure on myself to just be the best. And and then I thought about it, like, why do I put so much pressure on myself? And then it's just fear. It's fear
Fear of.
of judgment, fear of what people will say. Even like the Instagram thing, I watched so many moms, followed so many accounts for like 3 years now, watching them making money online, buying their product, and sometimes thinking, I can do this better. I'm saying this humbly, yeah. But like sometimes you buy a product and you're like, I can do this better,
Yeah.
you know. And I'm watching those people, and I'm like, no, I want to do the same thing. I can do the same thing, but I couldn't because again, what are gonna people think? What are gonna people say? And I left that for like 3 years almost, stopped me from putting myself out there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Just because I was scared.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, I'm scared of what my friends and family are going to say. I
Yeah,
don't care
but
about the strangers.
what's funny is that people don't actually care.
Well, I realize
Yeah.
this now. Until you do it, you don't know. But again, all this fear of judgment, fear of like people's opinion, I've realized that it came from like growing up, in the family that I grew up in with my parents. you know, all of these seeds were planted in me. And then when I moved here, I just wanted to be that perfect child because when I was in France, I've caused a lot of trouble. Like, I mean, it's not trouble, but according to my family, it was trouble. Do you know what I mean? It was just normal things that I was going through, like teenagers thing, liking a boy and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
according to my family, it wasn't right.
Yeah.
So I'll get a good beat. Or like, like I would be like, yeah, I'll get it.
Disciplined.
Proper like it's not even
Well,
discipline.
it's beyond.
It's
Yeah.
beyond. It's beyond. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't I didn't deserve that. But I feel like when people, I'm talking about my family, I can't talk about everyone. But when certain family move from, third world country, like, or wherever country, they come from and they come into Europe, they still come with their mentality from back home, but they try to instill that in Europe where life is completely different. Like in France, like, like here, it's so mixed. So I'm mixing with everyone every day. But then you're expecting me to be with someone like me, like Mauritian. Or, like there's so much things that they put on us, not realizing that actually we're in
We're in a
Paris here.
completely
Yeah,
different world.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's multicultural. Everyone mixed with everyone. Or even, with this thing where like I wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend until like basically I'm married. Or, like just a lot of things. Yeah, growing up was very dysfunctional. But I didn't know any better. So you just normalize what it is.
Hey ladies, quick pause. I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. As mentioned earlier, if you want to be part of our community and be the first to know when we launch, connect with us on Instagram or join the email list. Both links are in the description. We're going to have monthly guest speakers, live check-ins, accountability group, and even some in-person meetups happening throughout the year. And I personally can't wait. I know this business journey can feel lonely at times, but you don't have to do it alone. Connect with us and join the movement. Now, let's get back to the episode.
What was your childhood? Oh no, because you moved here when you were 20.
So I was
But what was your childhood in France like then?
my childhood. So there's the beautiful part, like with my friends at school. I was I was a popular child, and I was really loved by all my teachers. So,
Yeah, I can imagine.
yeah, I was just like, oh, this cute little Cindy, and trying to be really, like, I was really nice. Well, I'm still nice. But I was, yeah, so childhood was really like, there's some really light moment and there's some really dark moment. Seeing stuff that I should have not seen as a child. Don't want to mention too much, but yeah, it's things that you know, my family, I grew up in a big family. There's a lot of violence, a lot of sexual stuff sometimes. Um, yeah. And then again, like violence toward my mom. And then as I got older, I've also experienced that with my dad. It was just, I think all of that really scarred me. But when I was a child and growing up into a teenager, I just thought, well, he's like my dad is like that. So that's just how he is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not only happening to me, but it's also happening to all my other cousins because my uncles were the same. So he was just normalizing it. It's all right. Like, okay, my dad's gonna find me with my boyfriend today. I'm gonna get a beat, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna do the same thing next day anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like until yeah, it's just. But then also with that comes what you allow people do to yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you grow up like that, you just allow people to take the piss sometimes
Yeah.
with you. So yeah, I think it was just yeah, a lot, a lot that I pushed down, and I'm dealing with it just this year. I'm gonna start therapy this year because I didn't realize how it impacted me so much, and especially last month, my birthday. I used to like I've been always a person that always have control over everything. You know, like that thing of being perfect and trying your best, and so I always had control over everything. And then this last month, whoa, like the amount of crying that I've done,
Yeah.
and even my siblings were like, whoa, like we always thought like you were the strong one. And I always felt that I was strong. And I
Yeah.
still feel like I'm strong.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I needed to release all of that.
Sometimes you have to just like let it out.
But I didn't realize that I was holding on to those
Yeah.
stuff. Do
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like I really didn't realize I was holding on to the stuff because growing up, right, I was in a jail. Like it was like school, home, school, home. My dad will be super strict. And yeah, he was super super strict, and that's why like I talk about freedom because like I was in a cage, like literally, and we were not allowed to do anything, and that's why I bunk school so much, literally like pretending I'm going to school, and then I go for the first like hour,
Yeah.
and then I just go
Leave.
elsewhere. Yeah, we leave, and we were a group of friends, we all chilled together. But
Yeah.
that's what I was saying to you. So when I was doing all this stuff, eventually my mom and dad found out, and then I got beaten and all this stuff, and then that's why when I moved here I kind of said to myself, no, I'm going to be a good child now. I'm going to be a good daughter because of everything that I've done. I've really said to myself that I was a bad daughter. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes things that would, like, say, like my dad will find me, like, I don't know why every time, like, my dad will see me. Like, I'm like, what, are you not working?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and he would just bump into me in the street, and here we go, and oh my gosh, and then I'll get beaten and stuff at home, and then my mom will try to separate, protect me, and sometimes she will get it as well. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like I carried a lot of guilt, like because I've seen it, and I know she was trying to protect me. So yeah,
What was your relationship like with your mum growing up?
I had a great relationship with my mom,
Okay.
but the only thing I will say is just that as I'm reflecting now on my relationship with her, I just wish that she was more open. And I had this conversation with her recently, but she didn't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm a first daughter. She didn't know any better. She was more open with my little sister. You know,
Okay.
like things like even like a period. My mom never told me what a period was until.
Yeah. Me neither.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like what's going on?
What's happening? Yeah.
You know, and I mean nowadays you won't do that. Like you know, I have a daughter, and like I'm already telling her about it. Do you know what I mean? But no, we had a great relationship, and one thing with my mom, I have to say, she always tried to protect me, even in some way. She didn't do it in the right way, but she always tried to protect me. But with that said, she always had, she always worried about what people say.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think growing up now, I became the same. Like what people are gonna say.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
But just to clarify, your mum was in an abusive relationship when you were growing up.
Yeah,
Why do you say that hesitating?
Because people will hear it.
What are people gonna say? Yeah.
Yeah, what are people gonna say? Especially again, like family. Do you know what I mean? She was in an abusive relationship, but she's still with him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the physical stuff stopped, but yeah, there's emotional stuff,
Yeah.
and again, like I feel like he doesn't know any better.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you
Like
know what I
a lot
mean?
of the time that is the scenario. Is like
Yeah.
people don't know how to work with their own emotions, so therefore they translate it into anger or abuse or whatever, and it's really sad. But obviously it has an effect on the people around them. So what was your relationship like with your dad just generally?
Oh gosh. Gosh, my relationship, like, it was cool. I can't even describe like a relationship. Like my dad shows us love in a different way. So he never communicates his love. So my dad will never be the dad to say, I'm proud of you or this. Like I remember when I told him I got my driving license, he was like, what, you think is good? You know how many car accident happen in,
Oh.
and you're just like, congratulations, would be nice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Even when I was pregnant, what, you think he's gonna stay with you?
Oh wow.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's never been like that. Like, but then his way of showing love is gift.
Okay.
Like even now, like he'll give me like, oh, I got these little trousers for you. That's how he shows us love. But unfortunately, like like when you actually don't need that gift, you just need that connection.
Support. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then obviously you have your own kids now, and like how do you think that relationship that you had growing up, seeing your parents, has influenced you as a mum?
Just too soft because I've
What do you
seen
mean?
because I've seen a lot and I've experienced a lot as a child, as a teenager. Sometimes I'm just like too worried about the emotional well-being. So I'm so soft sometimes, and they take advantage of that.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, like so I'm trying to be aware every time, like how do they feel?
Yeah.
And sometimes they're very smart and they know that mommy is like that. So I'm actually, the reason why I say is because yesterday I was reflecting on that. Like I need to be a bit more tough, like more a bit of tough love, because they're growing and they're realizing, oh, they can do this with me where they won't do that with their dad. Do you know what I mean? But I am like, I think whatever I've experienced has made me a bit too like, oh, soft with my children.
I don't know if that's a bad thing. I don't think you should see it like that.
Well, the reason why I say it's a bad thing, well, I think it's a bad thing, is just like I can call them kids like free time. Come and brush your teeth nicely. Come and brush
Yeah.
your teeth. They won't listen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That, and then I get frustrated because I'm like, if your dad is asking you to go and brush your teeth, you're gonna go straight away. Do you know what I mean? But because they know with me, like, oh yeah. But that's one thing I'm trying to work on now, like to kind of have a balance.
Yeah, but I think that like discipline and like consequences can be taught without like anger or like
Oh yeah,
anything
definitely.
like
No,
that.
no. I won't do what have happened to me.
Yeah.
I won't deal with my children
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And again, I think we're a different generation.
Of course.
Like communication with your children and telling them, like for me, like when my children like reach a certain age, I'm gonna tell them it's okay to have feeling for someone. Where when I was growing up, you are not allowed to talk to a boy.
Yeah.
Imagine you've been told this since you're 5 years old, and then you go to school, yeah, and you obviously talk to boys because you're in a classroom. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you do activities together, and I always remember, right? I must have been like 8 years old, and I was at play center after school, and I was playing board game with this boy, and my dad come and pick me up. You know the way my heart was beating because I was playing with a boy. I should have not felt that way
Yeah,
at 8 years
true.
old. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the way I felt so scared. I won't ever do this to my children. Do you know what I mean? Like for them to feel like I still remember my heart beating, like
Yeah.
being so scared. Oh my gosh, what's gonna happen to me? My
Yeah,
dad
yeah,
is seeing
yeah.
me talking to a boy.
Yeah.
When it's life. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? But yeah, so again, we were told no talking to boys, no boyfriend. Whereas if I was told, like it's okay, it's normal that at a certain age you start feeling something,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't need to do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? But we were not told that. We were told no. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go there.
Yeah, because you want to be like, oh, I want to see what all
Do you
the
know
fuss
that?
is
Yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. So everything I was told not to do,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
It's funny how the brain works as well, that
Yeah.
the more you tell them not to do something, the
gonna
more they
do
want to
it.
do it.
So yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. So in terms of that, when my children approach a certain age, and I'm gonna be much, much more open because I've been a teenager. I know what it's like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I've been a secondary school teacher as well. I know what that's like. I see the children in school.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? I'm gonna be very open with my children when it comes to that.
Yeah. God, this scares me to like even think about becoming a mum, because there's just so many things I have no idea how you like navigate.
You know
that.
what? I think you just learn as you go along because
Yeah.
I'm a different mom to my son, and I'm a different mom to my.
Yeah, I've
do you know what I
heard
mean?
that mums are like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because with my boy, there's stuff that I still like kind of carried from my childhood, if you get what I mean, and then realize that, hold on, this is not right. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll just give you an example. When he was little, like maybe 2, 3, or like, and you will drop a glass of water, I will flip. And then with my daughter, I don't. I'm like, it's okay, it's an accident. But with my boy, I didn't see it like that. But because it's just what I was used to, like you drop something, you get told off.
Yeah.
So I did the same thing with him. And then I realized, hold on, he's just a child. He's not actually doing this on purpose.
purpose,
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? And when I kind of shifted that, then I'm able to like, what do you say? How do you say it? Like deal with it better. So now, like when my daughter does it, I'm like, it's okay, it's an accident. We're gonna clean it up, and that's it. So yeah, I feel like with mum, you just learn as you go along. I'm still learning.
Yeah, I heard that on I don't remember who it was now. Someone was talking about parenting on another podcast, and he said every child has a different parent, even if you have the same parents.
Yeah.
Because they just evolve the way they parent as like
And
time
I see
goes.
it with my mum and
Yeah,
dad.
yeah.
Because you see, as when I was growing up, I wasn't allowed out. My sister, which is 11 years younger than me, completely different. She was allowed to go out. She had sleepover. I've never had a sleepover
Oh, bless
with my
you.
friends.
Oh, we should have done that for your 40th.
It's never too late. You see. But like just little things like that. Like I could tell, like my mum was more open with my sister than me. So yeah, I think that's so true.
Yeah. Okay, so now you're like on Instagram now. I remember like seeing you pop up on my Instagram, and I was like, wait, what's happening? So you're on Instagram, and what kind of content are you creating?
Well, I'm creating like mindset kind of content. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? What I'm trying to do, well, what I'm doing, let me just use the right word. What I'm doing at the moment is just things that I've learned for myself. I'm just trying to put it out there, like little tips that I've learned. And early on, I was just mentioning when I left teaching after having my second child, and how I went into this dark moment of my life, not being able to talk about it because I was feeling guilty, and how slowly I rediscovered myself and things that I've done to get there. And I'm still doing the work. Because I don't feel like I'm fully out there. I'm still trying to, especially this year, because of all the childhood stuff that came back up. I'm still trying to navigate now. Who's Cindy? But there's a lot of stuff that also I've done, I say for the past 2 years, that helped me kind of bring joy to my life. Yeah. So like one thing that I started to do, and again, like I could see myself. So I went to Jamaica with my family a few years back, and I remember I was in Jamaica and I didn't appreciate Jamaica because all I was thinking about is what I'm coming back to, the same old life, like
Oh, really?
talking children language, dropping one to nursery, dealing with one at home.
Right.
And that's all I could think about, the cleaning, the dishes, this. And so I was there in Jamaica, and I was just, my head was
You're not
in London.
present.
Yeah, I wasn't present. But I knew I was going through something. So when I came back, I started researching. And that's when I came, like you go on YouTube nowadays, you find so much stuff on YouTube. So luckily, you know, I started to find like gratitude videos, power of like mindset, and I started listening to that whilst I was doing the dishes, cleaning, and slowly I would practice
Yeah.
until I became uh, happier, I'll say, like, or you know, I found a light, you know, and then so this is what I'm trying to do with the Instagram, because I know as mom, you know, we often lose our identity.
That's what I was going to ask you is, have you connected or do you know women already that are mums and have gone through, because I'm hearing this a lot, but it's from women, not just mums, but women that are like hitting a certain age, even me, where I'm like really thinking about the choices that I've made and like why I've made them and why I maybe spent so much time and energy in like relationships that didn't serve me and people pleasing a lot. And
Tell me
so,
about this one.
yeah, have you connected with mums specifically that are also going through that, who are just like, I don't know who I am anymore. Like I feel like I'm just a mum, which I hate this term because I feel like that is probably one of the best jobs in the world, is to be a mum. But you're also Cindy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did connect with a few moms and women like you that are going through the same thing. I did connect through Instagram. I connected through a few, and also other moms that I knew but didn't maybe talk about this, and through Instagram, kind of like, oh, you're doing this, oh, like, and then we connected through that. You know, with the job that I do at Trimenco, we work with women, so I've connected with a lot of women
Yeah.
down there that are going through the same journey like you. It might not be with like motherhood, it might be choices or career, you know, they've been stuck in the same job for years. It's like almost like a crisis in loss of identity, or I don't know, I just think society for us is just a lot, like there's a lot of pressure on
There's a lot
women.
of pressure, yeah.
You know, I'm not just saying women, I think there's a lot of pressure on everyone, you know, like man, woman.
Yeah, I think there's pressure everywhere for various different reasons.
Yeah. And I think it's time for us to just like forget about that. What is it that you really want? Like, what makes you happy? What makes you content? What makes you feel like peace? I think that's just the most important thing for me anyway. That's what I'm looking for.
If you could picture like your ideal life, what would that look like?
I'll be traveling
Mm.
a lot, but being able to bring my family with me. And I feel like my ideal life is wake up every day and I know I'm making an impact,
Yeah.
however small or big. But I want, like, I feel like this, like I said it a lot, but like one of my core values is to help others. And I feel like if I'm waking up every day and I know that I'm helping someone today, but I'm getting paid for it, then that would be my ideal, you know, like, and then having all these great experiences with my family. But I feel like making an impact. I just don't want to die and not have made an impact.
Just a quick reminder, guys, while you're here, if you have a podcast or a podcast idea brewing in that little brain of yours, I would love to support you. I currently have a mini course that helps you tackle the top 3 things that I hear that stops people from launching their podcast. I've also got other resources to help you launch or grow with ease. No more stressing over editing or strategy. I've got you. Just connect with me on Instagram and let's chat about how we can bring your podcast to life. It is time to stop procrastinating on this one. Okay, let's get back to the episode.
But then I think you need to really define what that means, because you were doing that already, being a teacher.
Yeah.
Like you're making an impact. Like at your 40th birthday, like you said, you had people that you have taught in school came to celebrate your birthday. Like I've never seen that before from a teacher. Like I've had good teachers in my life, but I've never been involved in like their personal life. So
Yeah.
you were already creating an impact.
I just need to find it again. And I did start a business with my sister. We did, you know, like whilst I was going through my period of like darkness, and then I've, you know, I was listening to growth mindset stuff. And I was like, why is it not taught in school? And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to teach this, you know? And then I did a CIC. I called it Turn Your Light On.
Yeah.
Because I love this thing where I believe we all have a light, and then according to what's going on around us, the light might dim. And so I just wanted to like teach children how to always have their light on, and or give them the tool to turn their light on.
Okay.
So I've started that, and it was great. But then I feel like now that, you know, I'm a, I'm a woman, you know, like I'm an older woman, and I just feel like, okay, children are, I don't want to work with children anymore.
Okay.
You know, I want to work with women. And you know what, my colleague, if she listens to this, she'll be like, she was telling me 5 years ago, but I feel like because I didn't work with adult before, I was just like, no, I'm going to work with children. I'm great with children, you know. But now I'm like, no, I'm finally ready to help other women, you know, in
Okay.
any way, any shape or form. Like, I think like the helping, that word helping, impact, is so inside me, like to my core. I need to do it.
Okay.
And so yeah, so hopefully, you know what I would like to do, I feel like I would like to be a motivational speaker.
Okay.
Yeah, like traveling the world, sharing my story, because I'll share a snippet of my story today, because I'm not ready to share the whole story.
Yeah.
But I feel like when people know my story, they will understand a lot of things. And I'm not saying that I'm going to be coaching people and stuff like that, because that's not my expertise. But I just want to be like almost like, you know, like a witness. No, is that the right word? You know, like you witness my life, like kind of you listen to my story and you see that from this I became this.
Like a testimonial.
Yeah, good. That's the word I was listening. And almost like, yeah, I want to be that,
Yeah.
and then hopefully help another person to
Get over the same thing.
to get over this, or even just to simply make like a different mindset shift, or you know, because I feel like it's all in our mindset. Do you know what I mean? I'm reading this book now from Dr. Joe Dispenza, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and you're just like we can all do this. We can all do this, but not everyone knows this. So, and also as a person of color, do you know what I mean? Like from a tiny little island. Well, if they claim I'm Mauritian anyway, you know. But yeah, I feel like I know that I'm not the only one that's gone through a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of people even went through worse than I've, you know. And yeah, so if I could just share my story and help someone, that's the game for me.
Yeah. I love that. This is like your first stepping stone into sharing your story.
Yes, definitely. And it's even the first time I'm actually saying it out loud. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like I'm reading this book as well called What's Your Dream?
Okay.
You know, by Simon.
Cynic.
No. Do you know the one that goes on the street and he's like, what's
Oh,
your
Simon Squibb.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
one. And I think I was paying for something and I left it on the counter. And the guy was like, so what's your dream? And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm actually going to say it out loud. So
Yeah.
that's the second time now that I'm saying I want to be a motivational speaker. And I feel like the more I'm going to say it, and it's going to happen.
Yeah, good.
Do you know what I mean? Because
I love this.
you know what, I'm quite good with manifestation, but I've been manifesting the small things. Do you know what I mean? So now I need to
Now
get on
you're
the
like,
biggest
I'm
scale.
ready for
Yeah,
like the big one.
I've been manifesting, like, you know, there's a singer that I really love, Eric Bellinger. And
Yes.
I said I really wanted to meet him, and I did all this stuff that they say, visualize, feel, da da da. And it worked. I did it. Do you know what I mean? So I know I can do it. And even like when I write my stuff, I'm like, I'm a powerful manifester. I'm a powerful manifester. And I know I can do it. I just need to, yeah, I just need to get on the bigger stuff.
Yeah, I love this for you. I really like your content as well, because obviously you weren't on Instagram for a really long time.
Yeah.
And not as soon as Instagram became a thing, but like I was on Instagram from when it was like new.
Okay.
And then it took me so long to like get into the flow of like doing content and like being like the center of attention, because I don't really like that. But then you just came on and are just like doing your thing, talking to camera, and I was like, wait, what is happening?
If I tell you that, you know, with my work, right?
Yeah.
We tried to do the Instagram thing as well, and it took me 2 hours, even 2 to 3 hours to record one video of like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I've come a long way.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was never that easy. But you know what? I have to say, a few people have like reached out to me and said, you know, they love my content. And
Yeah.
you know what? I mean, when it comes from friends and family, I appreciate it a lot. But when it comes from a stranger,
Yes.
it means something more.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's this woman, there's actually two women that follows me, and again, they're moms. on Instagram, and they're always really supportive of what I'm doing. And one of them said to me, "You're so inspiring." And oh my gosh, that meant so much to me because, like, I want to inspire. I want to make an impact. So, like, for me, that means a lot.
Yeah, I love when I get messages like that from people that I don't know.
Oh, I love your Instagram account. I love it. I love it. And I know, because I know you, and I remember you remember, like, I always remember you wrote me a card. I think we must have turned 22 or something.
No way.
And the way you did, like, you used to be into design, like, and I was like, oh my gosh, you use like different colors, and I was like, oh my gosh, this card is so beautiful. So yeah, I can see it on your Instagram.
I don't even remember this.
Don't you remember?
I love it.
Oh.
I love this story, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, I remember because I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was you.
Yeah. That's the thing, though, is that I have like quite a creative mind and I have a lot of ideas, but then like when I come to implement them, I'm very hard on myself, and if it doesn't look how I want it to look, then I'll be like, no, scrap it, start again. And then this just leads to like this snowball of like never ever reaching this bar that I have for myself. But I think one thing that I've with the podcast has like influenced me is it doesn't matter. Just post it, because it's better to be imperfect and like people hearing the message than to just not be doing anything.
I was like you. Especially with teaching, there will be like, I'll be creating my presentation, and trust me, like, something that nobody will notice, but I will notice, oh, this is not straight.
Yeah.
And then anyway, a few years back, someone said to me, your perfection might not look perfect to me. And that hit me because I was like, it's so true. And that's when I kind of eased up of being perfect, trying to be perfect anyway, because what may look perfect to you might not look perfect to me. And I think since I kind of make that mindset shift, I'm a bit easy on myself now. I'm like, oh, whatever. Like, sometimes I look at my stuff and I'm like, oh, I should have done that, or like, and I'm like, whatever. Just do it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is
People
what it
will
is.
hear the message if they need to.
Yeah. And I guess you will reach who needs to be reached.
Yeah.
Right? Who needs to hear it.
Yeah, it's really nice as well. Like, sometimes obviously I'm putting episodes out, and like with season 1, I was getting messages from people that I didn't know. It's really cool when like someone messages you and they're like, oh, I watched episode 9 with X person and I loved that you spoke about XYZ and da-da-da-da. And like they go in depth with the episode, and I'm like, people are actually listening. Because sometimes you feel like really lonely just like doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing over and over and over again, and you wonder like who's listening, but you never truly know like who you're impacting. So
That's so good, because I remember like years ago you started the positivity.
Yeah,
So I'm happy that you're still going with this.
Yeah. But then I also had a time off like you, like where it was like 3 years where I took a break from my first podcast, and then I had this fear because I was like, oh, but I want it to be perfect and I want it to be this, and what will people think, and blah blah blah, and like this obsession with like what other people think is just, and it's too much.
It is, isn't it? I mean, I've been like this for years, like what people think, and now this year I'm like, fuck everyone. No, but literally, I'm like, fuck. Like, fuck what you think. Fuck it. Like, so much. Like, because I think, like, for so many years, I just cared so much. And, like you were saying, like, the people pleasing, right? Oh, gosh, 100% guilty of that. But also, I would not tell you how I feel just because I'm going to protect your feelings.
Yeah.
To the detriment of my feelings.
100%.
And I've been like that for years. Like,
I've been like that my whole life.
Yeah, like for years. And like we carry so much just because we just don't want to hurt people. And we're not like going there like, I'm going to hurt you, but you rather hurt yourself than just telling someone the truth. And that's why I said this year, I want to live in my authentic self. Like, I want to be authentic to who I am. And I don't care if you're happy or not happy about it. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I need to stand by that, because they say the highest form of frequency or whatever, I can't remember how the thing goes, but authenticity is even higher than love. Do you know what I mean? So if that's the case, then I need to live my life how I want to live my life. Do you know what I mean? And then I'm going to I'm going to feel, I guess, content because I'm living the way I want. I'm being true to myself. I feel like when you're not true to yourself, it's going to catch up to you one day anyway. So
I agree. And I also think that you'll be setting a good example for your kids especially your daughter.
Yeah, yeah. I want to be that. I want her to see mom rocks. I'm gonna be a rock star like mom. I know I'm going for with the rock star title, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So what does this look like moving forward? Like, how are you going to implement these things? How are you going to stop the people pleasing thing?
you know what? I slowly stopped before, like especially my children's school. They'll ask me to do something, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yes, yes." Like, Cindy will do everything. You know, I even did the whole international evening, like in the whole school. How is I'm gonna do it? Well, how I've started to do it, I don't say yes now. I say, let me think about it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? And then the answer, I know the answer is no, but I find it difficult to say the no straight away.
Yeah.
So I said, let me think about it, or I'll get back to you. Do you know what I mean? So that's the start for
Okay.
me. And I think I've done it in other way, like kind of really like, you know, actually I can't do this right now. Obviously I'm still struggling. There's other area I'm still struggling, and I'm working on it. But I think it's just being aware, because I think when you're aware, then you can,
Do something about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Before I wasn't even aware,
Yeah.
because I would say yes, yes, yes to everyone, and then I will just resent and I'll feel overwhelmed because I've said I'm going to do this, I'm going to help this person.
Yeah.
You know, so just being aware that my time is precious.
Yeah. I also think that like boundaries wasn't really a word. Like my previous guest last week was like boundaries wasn't a word for me growing up.
Oh my gosh, like what
Whereas
is boundaries?
yeah, like it's such a new concept for me, even
me
though it
too.
like fully makes sense.
100%.
So I think like putting my boundaries in place is something really hard.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying. We like baby step. I feel like, because we can't, like you said, it's still new for me. I can't go from like having no boundaries to having all boundaries.
All the
now, do you
boundaries,
know what I
yeah.
mean? But yeah, I'm learning to put some boundaries in
Yeah.
place. Even just like I said no, like respect, you know, like this is how I feel. I don't want that, or I don't want to do that, or yeah, I feel like we need to do that. And again, growing up, we had no boundaries.
Yeah, no,
Do
we
you know what I
don't.
mean? Like in school, everywhere, even in maybe like at work, you know, people, especially when people know how you are. Like for me, people knew that Cindy wants to always go above and beyond, you know, and that's just been me. So people take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, boundaries is such a strong word. And you know what, I rate everyone that have their strong boundaries, because you have people out there that have their boundaries.
Yeah, I know.
And you're like, oh,
I know, because I'm like, oh, how do they do that?
I
Let me
know,
write that
right?
one down.
Yeah, no, but I love it. Well, yeah, again, it's just part of us, right? Human, we evolve, we learn, we grow, and that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. I've also seen your content is a lot like going to concerts these
Oh, girl.
days. I saw you at Usher's concert.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I loved it. That was my second time seeing him. I went to see him in Paris. You know what? Again, this go back to when I was young. Remember I mentioned I was in prison?
Yeah.
So music was my escape. Music was my only escape. I know you know this, but people don't know it. I'm a massive fan of Mariah Carey.
Oh my God, you were obsessed with Mariah Carey when we were at college.
Yeah. Well, since I had children, I've calmed down a lot.
Okay.
But I still love Mariah Carey so much, and she was like my escape. Not only her, but you had Usher, Michael Jackson. You know, like growing up, like all the R&B stuff was my stuff. And because I wasn't allowed out, I would sit down and just listen to music. And again, English was not my first language. So from early on, from the age of 10, I remember I wanted to understand what they were talking about in those songs. So I had a dictionary, and I was just literally translating word by word.
Wow.
So remember back in the day, we had the CDs, and they had the little, like with the lyrics and stuff. And I would sit down, because I had nothing else to do. I would sit down and like looking for the word by word, writing it down. I remember like when I was doing this for Hero, Mariah Carey. I've done it with Michael Jackson. I've done it with Tupac. I'm just sitting there like word by word, and even the sentence would not make sense because you know, like the word in dictionary. But I will do that, and also I'll get the magazine, cut the pictures of Mariah Carey, stick them, and that was my escape. So you see, when I go to a concert, Like some people think it's crazy because I go to so many concerts and I can see the same concert 5 times. No issue for me. But that's my escape. That's the way I escaped my reality when I was young. And that's still the same way. Like when I'm at a concert for 2 hours, I'm so present. I'm not thinking about yesterday, tomorrow, what I have to do. I'm literally there fully in the moment. And that's priceless to me. I mean, it does cost, but
I was gonna say I really
Yeah.
wanted to see Usher, but then when I saw the prices, I was like, maybe not this time.
No, yeah. So that's why I say when it's priceless. But no, it is something that really brings joy to my life. Like going to a concert, live music, I love it, and especially when it's a singer that you love and you enjoy the music and stuff. So yeah.
Have you seen Mariah Carey in concert?
Oh yes.
How many times?
I don't know. I think I've seen her about 3, 4 times in a concert. But then you remember the top of the top, like them
Top of
shows.
the Pops.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but the equivalent in France.
Uh.
So I've seen her there. I remember I've seen her in Westfield.
Oh no, I don't remember.
No, you don't. Maybe it was after college.
Oh.
There was like this.
Oh, she was doing a sign. I remember because I used to work in Westfield.
Yeah,
And
so-
I text you, and I was like, Mariah Carey's in
and
Westfield.
I signed up for this thing. You had to buy a perfume.
Yeah.
And I won the chance to meet
No
her.
way, I didn't even know this.
And so well, when you say meet, it's a big word.
Right.
But I went to her. I always remember I didn't know what to say to her. I said, I love you so much. But like obviously Mariah Carey doesn't know me, right? But I've shared so much with her through her music. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Mariah Carey's done music for years, for decades, right? So every album means something to me. Every album was going through a little something in my life, or with my parents, or with an ex-boyfriend, or So that for me, she's part of my story.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And she writes her songs are beautiful. Do you know what I mean? It's not everyone's cup of tea, but if you like lyrics, Mariah Carey's got lyrics. So yeah, I've met her. I've seen her, and I'm going to see her this August.
I didn't know. I was going to say, does she even perform anymore? Because I don't
She
really
does,
see
she
much of
does.
her these days.
Yeah. No, she's coming 15th of August, and I'm definitely going to see her.
I believe you. I have no doubt that you would be there.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Okay, amazing. So I normally finish up my interviews with something called the Woman Up Wrap Up, which are just 4 questions that I ask everyone.
Okay.
So the first one is, tell me something about you that no one really knows. It can be something quirky, something funny, something...
Oh, it's something that no one really knows. I'm way funnier that I come across. I know it's, but I don't feel that I show that side of me enough. But I'm so funny.
Are you like goofy funny, or like...
What does goofy funny mean?
Like, goofy's like when you act silly, like you do silly things.
Oh yeah, I do that a
Yeah,
lot. But I
okay.
just feel like I'm really funny.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what? One thing is, I feel like French humor and in English, like British humor, is different, right?
Very.
So when I was young, I make myself laugh. Do you know what I mean? Like I can make myself laugh and have a good laugh.
A good laugh to
Yeah,
yourself.
to myself, yeah.
I love that. Okay, amazing. Would you rather go back in time and give advice to your younger self, or meet your future self and hear what she has to say?
Ooh. I think at this point where I am right now, I would love to meet my future self and know what she has to say, just because of where I am now. Yeah.
Okay. If we had another conversation a year from now, what is one thing that you hope you've achieved by then?
Find my purpose and living my purpose, meeting my higher self, really
Living in your purpose,
yeah, living in my purpose. That's one thing I want to talk to you again about next year.
Okay, amazing. And then the last one is, if you had to describe this season of your life as a song, a book title, or a movie, what would it be?
Oh, you should
It's
have
going to be a
told me.
song, but...
Should have told me this. This is. Oh my gosh! Okay, this season of my life.
Yeah.
Butterfly.
I knew you were going to say something to do with evolution.
Yeah,
or
Butterfly. Mariah Carey.
Yeah. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
I literally saw a butterfly in my mind before you said it.
Oh, is it? Oh, wow. Law of attraction. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you for
on.
having me. You know what? I'm so glad you invited me to do this.
Yeah.
I loved it. And also, I remember when we met up after like 10 years, I told you that one day I want to have a podcast called The Manifestation Room. Because, like I said, like I'm quite good with manifesting, but I need to manifest the right thing.
Yeah, you need to teach me with manifesting.
Yeah. Listen to Dr. Joe. Did you listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza?
I've tried Dr. Joe Dispenza a few times, like his meditations and stuff, but I find him quite intense and I don't really like, there's a connection piece missing with him.
Okay.
Maybe I need to try harder, but
You know what? I think I started this book and then I've listened to a lot of YouTube. But I listened to the audiobook because it's quite science. you know?
yeah, sometimes it's so over my head.
Yeah, but I feel like when I'm reading the book, I'm listening to the audiobook, it clicks,
Okay.
So like I remember once I saw a YouTube video and he was just saying how to manifest something and I literally did exactly the same thing and boom. Yeah, so yeah, try.
Okay, I'll give
But
him
yeah,
another go.
so yeah, I was saying thank you to you
Oh, okay.
because I know you're planning something about podcast course or something.
I am.
Okay, so I would definitely buy your course, and yeah, because that's something I want to do in the future.
Amazing. Yeah, I think podcasting is like a really good way to like get your message out there, but also like connect with people.
100%, yeah.
So yeah, I will look forward to your podcast when it comes out. Yay.
Thank
you. Thank you. Guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Just do all the things. Like, I don't have enough time to tell you like how grateful I am for everyone who watches, who tunes in, and who writes like any comments or connects with me in my DMs. They are always open, by the way. So thank you guys for listening, and I will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that's it for another episode of the Woman Up podcast. Thank you for spending time with us. It really means the world. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please take a second to follow the show and leave us a review. It really helps more women to find these conversations. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And also leave us a comment if anything in the episode resonated with you. We love to hear from you. Even better still, feel free to share this episode and tag us on your socials. Of course, I will see you right here next week for more real talk, sisterhood, and conversations that actually matter. Until then, keep going, keep growing, and woman up.